إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Islami wa sunnah. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the sunnah. Ya ibadullah, it is incumbent that we live our lives in a manner that will benefit us in the hereafter. It is a must and it is imperative upon each and every one of us that we strive our utmost and our best to live our lives in a manner where we will not be regretful when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابِ, and then after that we gave unto them the book. The ulama, the mufassirun, they mention أي أعطينا ثم أعطينا بعد هلاك الأمم. Then we gave unto them after the previous generations, the previous nations, they were destroyed and they have come to an end. Then we gave unto them al-kitab, ay al-Quran. The Quran, ya ibadullah, it is a ni'mah that we have it, that Allah Ta'ala, He had sent it down to us to guide us. But unfortunately, there are many from amongst us who we turn our backs on it. We turn our backs on learning it. We turn our backs on implementing it. And we turn our backs on reading it. And it is incumbent for us to know that turning towards it, it is not just in the mere and pure recitation of it, but it's by learning it. It's by teaching it. It's by living in accordance to it. All of these things are incumbent and are needed. As it comes in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنِ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of you are those who learn the Qur'an and then they teach it. So we should strive, each and every one of us, to be from the best. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ أَصْطَفَيْنَا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. And then we had given the book, we have left as an inheritance so that they may receive the book, those whom we have chosen from our slaves. And this is what I want you to pay close attention to. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's going to mention unto us three categories of the believers. Three categories of the believers. And I want us to reflect on these three categories of the believers. And I want us to reflect on their final outcome as relates to الدخول في النار أو عدم الدخول والخلود في النار وعدم الخلود. Because there are three categories of people as relates to this. As relates to this topic, there are three categories of people as relates to those who will enter the fire or they will not enter. Those who shall remain forever in the fire and those who shall not remain forever in the fire. But let us deal with these three categories of Muslims first. Bithnillahi ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala, He goes on to explain to us the three categories of Muslims in who the book had been given unto them. Allah Ta'ala, He says, فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. And from them there are those who they oppress themselves. From them, there are those who they commit oppression unto themselves. وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ. And from them there are those who are moderate. They're in the middle. وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. And from them there are those who they excel. They excel in doing good by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us first look at these ones. Going back to the connection and the relation between those who will enter into the fire and those who will not enter into the fire. Those who shall remain in the fire and those who shall not remain in the fire. So let us deal with these categories. The Fadilatul Shaykh Abdul Razak Al-Badr Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he mentions, he says, فَهَؤُلَاءِ النَّاجُونَ مِنْ دُخُولِ فِي النَّارِ وَيُدْخِلُ الْجَنَّةِ وَيُدْخِلُونَ الْجَنَّةِ. He said that these individuals, they are those who they are safe from entering into the fire, and they will enter into the Jannah. This first category. And who are they? In particular, they are مقتصد وَالسَّابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ. They are those who are the moderate and those who excel in doing good. So this is the first category. This is the first category. في القسم الأول, the first category, then there are those who they are moderate and they excel in doing good. It is a must that we define our terms in light of the deen of al-Islam. We do not allow others to define for us and give to us definitions for terms. So when it comes to the muqtasid, the one who is moderate, the one who is in the middle, man who is he? وَمَا الْفَرْقُ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ سَابِقِ الْخَيْرَاتِ. Who is he and what is the difference between him and the one who excels in doing good? Because both of these two, they are from the first category of those who they will not enter into the fire and they will enter into the Jannah. The Shaykh, he mentions, he says, دخول الأولية دون الحساب ولا عذاب. They will enter into the Jannah with the first entering, and they will not be reckoned and they will not be punished. These individuals. So who are they? Who is the muqtasid? Who is the one who is moderate? Because if you listen to the people here, they will tell you the one who is moderate, then that is the sister who wears a lazy khimar. Her khimar comes to the middle of her head where all of her bangers hanging out. That's the one who's moderate. The moderate sister is the one who wears the khimar and her earrings are coming out. That's the one who is moderate. The moderate one is the one who, he doesn't practice everything from the religion, but he just does some of the things that are wajib. No, this is not moderation. The one who is moderate, the Shaykh, he mentions, he says, هُوَ الَّذِي فَعَلَ الْوَاجِبِ وَتَرَكَ الْمُحَرَّمِ. He is the one who he does the obligatory and he leaves off the prohibited. This is the one who is moderate. Not the one who prays 2.5 times a day, but the one who prays 5 times a day. This is the one who is moderate. Not the one who fasts half of Ramadan, but the one who fasts Ramadan. This is the one who is moderate. Not the one who gives just a little of the zakat. No, the one who gives all of the zakat. This is the one who is moderate. The one who does what they're supposed to do and they stay away from the haram. This is the muqtasid. This is the one who is moderate. The Shaykh, he mentions, he says, وَالسَّابِقْ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ. And the one who excels in doing good, هُوَ الَّذِي جَاءَ بِذَلِكَ وَزَادَ عَلَيْهِ. He is the one who comes with that and he goes beyond. بِفِعْلِ الْمُسْتَحَبَّاتِ. Because he does the recommended affairs. This is the one who excels. These are individuals who they do what they're supposed to do and they stay away from that which they're supposed to stay away from. It is incumbent and it is a must that we strive to be from these categories of Muslims. That we are those who do what is right and then we stay away from what is wrong. And if you can't bring the voluntary and a lot of extra actions, then you make sure that you are doing the obligatory and the obligations that you are fulfilling them. This is what is moderation. This is how we are to live and conduct our lives, and this is how we are to rear and raise our children. Not to miss dhuhr because you are at school, but to establish dhuhr wherever you are, including school. Not to miss dhuhr because you are at work, but to establish dhuhr while you are at work and wherever you may happen to be inside of the land. That we put our deen first. That we put the obligations and the fulfilling of the obligations first. This is what is on our mind. Not making money. Not chasing after dunya, but that we are chasing after the akhirah. We are chasing after that which will please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we want to live our lives in a manner in which we will not be regretful when we meet Allah, this is how we have to live our lives. By doing that which is wajib, and by staying away from the muharramat, by staying away from that which is haram. If we want to be from those who enter into the Jannah with the first entering, those who they will not be reckoned nor will they be punished, then these are the characteristics that we have to adorn ourselves with. We have to either be muqtasid, moderate, because we do what is right and stay away from what is wrong, or we have to be from those who excel in doing good because we do what is right, stay away from what is wrong, and we excel by doing those voluntary actions and those recommended deeds. On top of that, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me and you the success in being from these two categories. هذا أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولجميع المسلمين فاستغفروا فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. يا عباد الله, it is incumbent and it is a must that we strive our best to be from those who do what they're supposed to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions three categories of the believers. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, He starts with the worst of them, then the one who was better, then the one who was best. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, and from them there are those who they oppress themselves. The Shaykh, he mentions, he says that the one who oppresses themselves, this one, huwa qismu thani, he is from the second type of individuals as relates to entry into the fire or not entering into the fire, staying forever in the fire or not staying forever in the fire. So the second category, then it is those individuals who they may enter into the fire, but they will not stay there forever. They will not stay there forever. Who is this one? This one is the believer, ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, the one who he oppresses himself, the one who she oppresses herself. And they oppress themselves by fi'l al-mu'asi. They oppress themselves by fi'l al-ma'asi, by doing sins, by bringing forth sins that are doing al-kufr, doing al-shirk, but they bring forth sins that they did not make tawbah for. They bring forth these sins and they meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with these sins. So these individuals, they are under the mashiyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah wills, He will punish them. And if Allah wills, He will forgive them. Ala kulli hal, if they are punished and thus made to enter into the fire because of the sin in which they have done, they shall not remain therein forever, but they will come out of the fire. They will come out of the fire. We should never want to enter the fire, not even for the smallest amount of time. Entry into the fire should never be an option, ever. It is incumbent, it is a must that we have to strive to cleanse ourselves from the sin and transgression. Because one may come and they may say, the muqtasid, and the one who sabiq bil khayrat. You said that they are those who they do what is wajib and they stay away from what is haram. How is that possible? How could you stay away from haram? Everybody's going to do something wrong. Kulun ma'adam khatta. The Prophet ﷺ said all of the children of Adam, they make sense. Naam, this is true, they all make sense. But what is the difference between these ones who is muqtasid, the one who sabiq bil khayrat, is that what? They make tawbah. They have a much tawbah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that the one who is repentive, he repents. At-ta'ib, the one who repents before the sun rises from its place of setting, Allah will forgive them. Allah Ta'ala will forgive them. The one who repents from a sin is like the one who doesn't have a sin. So it is a must that we strive our best to make tawbah unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we get the sins off of us. And we do not become of those who are deceived by the smallness of the sin. And they say it's okay, this is from the sagha'ir. This is a minor sin. It's okay, it's not from the kaba'ir. It's okay, this is just from the small sins, the minor sins, so it's okay. But no, but rather we are to leave off the sin as best we can, and when we fall up, when we slip up, then we are to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. Tawbah, you need to make tawbah your intimate friend. You need to befriend tawbah so that you're constantly making tawbah. Every day you're making tawbah and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you. Because the one who repents from a sin is like the one who doesn't have a sin. So it is a must and it is incumbent that we bring this tawbah and we leave off the sins as best we can, the big of it and the little of it. As the poet he said, خَلِّ الذُّنُوبَ صَغِيرَهَا وَكَبِيرَهَا فَذَاكَ التُّقَى وَاصْنَعْ كَمَاشٍ فَوْقِ الْأَرْضِ بِالشَّوْقِ يَحْذَرُ مَا يَرَى وَلَا تَحْرِقَنَّ صَغِيرَةً فَإِنَّ الْجِبَالَ مِنَ الْحَصَى. The poet he said, and leave off the sin. Leave it off. This is what needs to be your mentality. That I'm going to be a person who leave off the sin. When you slip up, that's uncharacteristic of you. That's uncharacteristic of you. Naam. But you're a person who you say, I'm going to leave off the sin. Naam. So when you sin, when you mess up, make tawbah. Ala kulli hal. Leave off the sin. The small of it and the big of it. That is taqwa. That is what it means to be pious. And act like the one who was walking over a path that is laden with thorns. وَاصْنَعْ كَمَاشٍ فَوْقِ الْأَرْضِ الشَّوْقِ يَحْذَرُ مَا يَرَى. If you're walking over a land and it has in it thorns, you're going to be very careful where you place your foot. If you're walking through a field and they tell you the landmines in this field, you're going to be very careful where you place your foot. Why? Because you don't want to step on a landmine. You're going to be careful where you place your foot. Why? Because you don't want to step on a thorn. You don't want to step on a nail. You don't want to step on something that will puncture your foot. So therefore, you be very mindful, very careful. This is how we are to look at sin, that they're dangerous. You have to be very careful. Ala kulli hal. So you walk like this. This is how you live through life, being careful. So you don't want to fall into the sin. Not the small of it, not the big of it. Why? Do not underestimate the small sin, because the mountains are comprised of smaller rocks. The mountain chains, they are comprised of small rocks. You put enough together, it's a mountain. So beware. In any event, we have to beware because we don't want to be from the third category. The third category, then they are those whom Allah Ta'ala, He says about them, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَهُمْ نَارُ جَهَنَّمْ. And those who disbelieve, then they will have for them. What is for them? What's theirs? The fire of hell. The blazing fire of hell. Allah Ta'ala, He says, Allah Ta'ala, He says about them, لَا يُقْضَى عَلَيْهِمْ فَيَمُوتُوا. They will not be finished, and thus they die. They will not be finished, and thus they die. They will not be put out of their misery. وَلَا يُخَفَّفُ عَنْهُمْ. And it will not be lightened for them. مِنْ عَذَابِهَا. Its punishment will not be lightened for them. This is for who? This is for the kuffar. They will be put inside of the hellfire. They will be tortured. They will be burnt. As soon as the skin is burnt, it'll come back and repeat. And they will not be finished. They will not die. There's no death waiting for them. There's nothing that will bring an end or bring a cease to this punishment. This is for those who disbelieve. So they will not be finished. لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا. They will not be finished and thus they die. But at the same time, they're not going to be in a situation that you can call it life. Allah Ta'ala, He says, وَلَا يُخَفَّفُ عَنْهُ مِنْ عَذَابِهَا. And it will not be lessened, not for a second, its punishment. Allah Ta'ala says elsewhere in the Quran, ثُمَّ لَا يَمُوتُ فِيهَا وَلَا يَحْيَا. And then they will not die in it, and they will not be alive in it. Why won't they be alive in it? لا يخفف عنهم العذاب. The adhab will not be lightened for them. It will not be lightened. This is for who? This is for the kuffar. Allah Ta'ala, He says, كذلك نجزي كل كافور. كذلك نجزي كل كافور. He said, and like this, do we pay every kafur. Every kafur is like this. This is how we pay him. The kafur, this is صيغة مبالغة. This is an expression which shows us the extreme of this characteristic or this description. This is not like a kafir for another example. The kadhib is one who he lies. The kadhub is one who he is a habitual liar. He goes overboard in lying. He's a liar, as we will say. The kafur, this is one who is an extreme kafir. His kufr is a kufr that is a real kufr, if that makes any sense. This is a kafir who is extreme kafir. What kafir is like that? All of the kuffar are like that. All of the kuffar, they fit this description, kafir, because they deny the bounties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has bestowed upon them. Because from kufr, then it means to what? To be ungrateful. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ, he utilized this word, the kufr bu'ulatihin, due to the kufr that they give to their husbands, and talking about the wives when they show that they're ungrateful, by saying to the husband after he has spent, you haven't done anything. This shows that they're ungrateful. So part of kufr, part of what enters into the meaning of kufr is what? Being ungrateful. Who is more ungrateful than a kafir? Who is more ungrateful than a kafir? The one who Allah Ta'ala has given them everything, but then they turn around and disbelieve in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The one Allah Ta'ala has given them everything, and then they use it to disobey Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and to establish disbelief, to fight against the belief and fight against the believers. Who is more ungrateful than that? The one who takes everything that Allah has given them and then they use it to disbelieve in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So who and what are they going to get? What do they deserve? That they will be in this punishment, and it will not be lightened. It will not be lightened for them, and they will not be finished. They will not be finished. They will not die, and it will not be lightened. They will neither live nor will they die. This will be their situation. How long? Forever. And these are the ones who they will enter into the fire, and they will stay there forever. Who are they? They are the disbelievers. They are the kuffar. So it is incumbent, it is a must that we understand and we recognize this reality. Because if we want to escape the fire, escaping the fire is not in following after what the kuffar do. Escaping the fire is by doing that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to do. By doing that in which the Prophet ﷺ, he has commanded us to do. This is how we escape going to the hellfire. It is incumbent that we know what is the path of success so that we may tread upon it. And we know what is the path that is not successful so we don't waste our time on it. As the poet, he says, تَرْجُ النَّجَى وَلَمْ تَسْلُكْ مَسَالِكَهَا. He said, you want success, but then you don't take its path. فَإِنَّ السَّفِينَةَ لَا تَجْرِي عَلَى الْيَبَسِ. He said, verily the boat, it don't sail on dry land. The boat does not sail on dry land. You're not going to put a boat and put it in the desert and think you're going to get anywhere. So if we want to take the path of success, then if we want to be successful, then we have to take the path of success. If we want to be successful, we have to avoid the path that leads to destruction. We cannot take the path of destruction and then become surprised when we get destroyed.